Hi, everyone. This is Aaron Latina from Church Worship Tools, and sitting next to me is Elena. Now, Elena, we have many things in common,
Yes,
including our last name. You happen to be my daughter,
I am.
which is awesome. And Elena, you have just recently graduated. You have a music degree, music therapy degree from Maryville. And you also are a very gifted worship leader, very gifted singer, and an amazing violist. And in fact, if you've done any of our vocal rehearsal tracks from Church Worship Tools, there's a chance that you might have heard Elena actually singing on your soprano or alto track. So just a gifted singer. Today, we're actually going to be talking about strings and how to add strings to your worship. And if you're like me, I love strings. They can be on fast songs, slow songs, quiet
Yeah.
meditative parts, right? I mean, you've done all sorts of really fun things in church. And what we're going to let you in on a little bit is some of our conversations over the last couple of years about how to teach people how to do what you do every time you play. So if you've ever seen, of course, we've all seen YouTube videos and concerts where we're seeing a cellist or a violinist or whatever, some string player, and they're playing and they look like they're having a good time. They sound amazing, and they're not playing with sheet music,
Yep.
right? And so most kids, you're just like everyone else. You probably started in maybe middle school, high school, and you read sheet music like 100% of the time,
100%.
right? And so I remember the time, you might have still even been in high school, where somebody thought it'd be a good idea to have Elena play in worship. And I remember you coming to me and saying, so what do I play? They just gave me this chord chart. What am I supposed to play? And in a way, this has started a bit of a journey of us as a company, and this video of starting a conversation about how do we teach string players in your church how to move from only reading sheet music to maybe being able to take some steps into playing by ear, right? Which is, at first you described it as terrifying,
Overwhelming to a T,
right?
yes.
And so you're like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to play. And then now being somebody that you can just step up and just play, from a chord chart by ear. How do we teach other people how to do that? And before, we're actually going to have fun. We've got a couple instruments here just for fun and just to play a song together. But before we do that, there are a couple of ways to do this. And first of all, it's important to say there's a difference. If you have multiple string players, the best thing is to not have 3 or 4 different musicians all trying to play by ear, right?
Yeah.
That would be mayhem. And so it's very common for us to suggest that we do actually score for your strings. We do this all the time. And what makes us a little bit different as a company is we'll score based on your instrumentation, your keys, because you can't just change keys and all the strings are going to sound good. They'll still be in their sweet spot. But even taking it down a step further into saying, specifying your strengths and weaknesses on your team. And so being able to score that and just say, here's some sheet music for your team, and know that it's going to align with everything else you're handing out. So that's one facet. Super helpful. We do this at our church all the time. Secondly, if you have a musician that wants to maybe take a step and their first reaction is, I need some sheet music. I'm not ready for that next step yet. We've done this a lot too, especially for a lot of churches, and you just want to add that cello or add that violin. And if you buy the packs that are off the shelf, most of the time you're just grabbing one part of a whole and hoping for the best. Whereas what we would do is say, oh, you only have a cello, we're going to make and score parts that sound really good for just that single instrument. You've done some of that as well. And it's beautiful, and it's really meant to be that one musician on your team. But then the third one, and this is the thing that gets me very excited, is we would love to partner with you and your musicians on teaching them how to do what you do all the time, and that is to play by ear. And we've joked about it being a little terrifying at first, but it's actually very liberating as well, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
right, you enjoy it.
I do. I
Yeah.
love it a lot.
Right. And so have you ever, so this is the funny thing we joke about sometimes. Have you ever seen a musician who's like doing something really amazing and you just think, I would love to just like crawl in their head for just a second and go, what were they thinking? Because that was cool. And in a way, what I would love for us to do is sort of crawl into your head for a second
Sure.
and go like, okay, so what are you thinking when you first, like you get you get the music, you get the songs, you get the keys. I remember you telling me, well, there's one thing I do first about like just the simple, what's the first simple step? And that is like you're grabbing just the root. Is that right? What do you do?
Yeah, typically what I will do is, at least when I first started, I would look at the chord chart of whatever song it might be. It could be Praise by Elevation Worship. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this in the key of D. What are the actual chords in the song? And I'm going to play the root note of every single chord and maybe add some rhythms. I know I started off at first doing half notes and whole notes. And then the more comfortable I got, I added eighth notes and quarter notes because you want to have fun and add more cool rhythms to it.
Right. And so I think that's really important. The beautiful thing about stringed instruments is you can make them sound very beautiful on whole notes, half notes, and they're really, really nice. Even on fast songs. People think it's a fast song, oh, I've got to play fast. That's not actually true. A lot of times, well, the other instruments are already playing fast, so you're providing something kind of over here that is different and adding things like that. And then there's like another step. So even that's just like a great way to start. There's another way though to even take it one step further. And I remember you telling me about like really learning, committing the scales to memory. And so to tell me a little bit about that. So you know your key, and then you started to talk about getting fancy with eighth notes and quarter notes and stuff. So how does that all play out?
So moving from just looking at a chord chart to then thinking of, okay, like we said, we're in the key of D for Praise by Elevation Worship. And I know, okay, well, there's two sharps in the key of D, right? F sharp and C sharp. So as I'm playing, I'm going to remember those are the only two sharps in this key, and everything else that I'm playing is fair game as long as I'm playing in the key. There's no wrong notes when you're playing in the key, right?
It's funny because I love the phrase fair game. It's like, hey, everything's fair game right now and you can play. But I think the thing is playing around with like the demos in the right keys beforehand. And really, I think sometimes I like to call them happy accidents where you're playing and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't even kind of hear that. And some of it is theory. Some of it's just knowing what I can and can't do in this key, notes I can and can't use in the key. Some of it is art, right? Listening to it, listening to yourself play and go, I like that. I'm going to keep that. Ooh, not my best idea. Put that one away. And we all do it, right? We all do it.
Absolutely.
And then when you come into rehearsal, listening to the other musicians and kind of interacting with them, and particularly listening, I think, to maybe what the electric guitar is playing, because you can frequently live in the same space and you don't want to.
Right, yeah.
So there is a little bit of that. You're not sure. But what we would love to do, we would love to actually play, what's the song we're going to do?
Worthy of It All.
Worthy of It All, in D, right? So there we go, D. And we're not even, honestly, we're in our house. And we're not even set up so specifically for a studio recording. We've got these little things. So, you know, they will sound what it sounds like. But the viola is going to be the star of the show anyway. But what we would love to do is continue a conversation. If any of this sounded like I have some kids in my church or some people that I know used to play instruments that are just asking me, I'd like to get back into it, and you're feeling like I don't know where to start, or some of the things I've bought just haven't really fit the bill, and what we really need is to invest in the musicians that we have here. That's what this video is meant to be, is to start a conversation that we could have. And what does that look like? It's going to look like different things for different churches, and I think that's the way God wants it. And so let's grab our instruments. We happen to have a few right here. And we're just going to do this just for fun. We have practiced this a grand total of one time.
Single time.
That's right, one single time just to get it. But we are in D, and we'll do it a couple of times, and then we'll stop and say goodbye, all right? So you're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. One more instrumental. Well, we could keep playing all day. It is super awesome. I love the beautiful gift of music and the beautiful gift of worship. I hope that you've enjoyed our time. We're kind of basically letting you into our piano room here and a conversation we've been having for a little bit. So thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it. We really hope to hear from you. And yeah, it would be fun to collaborate with your church and with your musicians. Thanks so much.